Okay, I want to welcome in the next two members of our panel right there. Ryan Callahan from GoVols247 and .com. And right here, we've got, is that right, GoVols247? I almost threw in the extra, yeah. Yep. And right here, Bob Hodge, of course, the host of Sports Source Wild on the Sports Source Digital Network back with us. Vince down there, the host of Sports Source Next Level. You'll see a little bit of that to come, as a matter of fact. About a month ago, Mark and I said on this show that we thought there's a good chance this is Rick Barnes' final season at Tennessee. I said it because Cam Carr had just left, and Barnes made the comment, oh, these people just leave. Kind of the same thing he said about Jonas Adu, and I'm like, at his age, does he really want to get into this, well, I got to rebuild the roster every single year? And Mark did it because he's like, you're going to lose all these guys this year, and Zeigler, who he loves, and Jim Larinaga, another of the guys over 70, had just walked away. So that's where we were a month ago. Take a look at what Rick Barnes recently said at the Big Orange Tip-Off Club, if we can get that graphic up. There we go. This is what he said about Zakai Zeigler. To have him every day do what he does is an incredible blessing God gave me, because I don't know that I'd still be doing it. I'll be honest with you, I don't. Because of him, he makes me enjoy practice every day. Ryan Callahan, Zakai Zeigler won't be here next year, unless there's yet another rule change in the NCAA, and he's granted 5 more years. What do you think? Is this dropping a hint about the future, or is that just coach speak? I'm bragging on my guy.
I don't think it's so much coach speak, but I do think you could take it a couple different ways. I think one possibility is maybe he's saying, all these changes have happened the past few years. I'm not sure I would have stuck around to this point through them if not for Zakai. Does that mean he's going to leave
for next year?
Does that mean he's going to leave with Zakai Zeigler leaving after this year? I don't know that I would interpret it that way. Rick Barnes, to me, is the kind of guy, just sort of like Nick Saban, I had a hard time envisioning him retiring until he did. It's just, he loves it. It's in his blood. At the same time, I'm sure he'd love to hang out with the grandkids and relax. I don't get the sense that he's leaving after this year, but he's one of those guys that wouldn't shock me either way. If I had to guess right now, I think he keeps going. I think he's adapted so well. I think he might feel differently about it than he did a couple of years ago. It depends on how this year goes, too. If they go out in the first round, that might change things,
And how much is he enjoying this? I mean, clearly he enjoyed yesterday, but is he enjoying this team? If he sees that, I can go throw together, 5 more guys, bring them in next year, and it'll be fine, that's one thing. But if it's not and you said this a month ago when we talked about it, if it's not the usual culture building that he does, and I'll just let you say it right now, he likes to work with guys for 3 and 4 years and mold them.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's what he's been built on. The Zakais, the Meshachs, where you can make impact on their lives beyond just coaching ball. I mean, I think he loves that type of leadership, and that's just not the culture of college basketball that we're in these days. It's more of you got a guy for a year or two, and you hope you win a bunch of games and then go get the next wave.
Now, he only had Durant for a year, but he has a great relationship with him, so there's the opposite side of it. But Mark and I seem to think that this could be closer. It could be this year. Ryan, not so much. Bob, where are you on this?
I'm going to go with what a friend of mine who knows him pretty well, now how well I don't know, he said he thinks if Barnes could take this team to the heights that Tennessee's never reached before, which would be a Final Four, that he would be more likely to step down. That, okay, I've got them here, they're in a great place, and now I'm going to move on. So that's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on. If it goes like everybody in the last segment said, and this team's out
here,
Sweet 16, okay, maybe that's enough motivation. I come back because we are basically a Sweet 16 team now. But if he got him to a Final Four, I think it would be more likely that he'd say, you know what, I've done it, and walk away at that point.
Yeah, here's a different look on it, too. I think if, not to bring up Pearl and Barnes, that's not why I'm doing it, but you look at Pearl at Auburn. I mean, Pearl can kind of dictate, I think, who's going to be his predecessor, right? He's going to be able to say, hey, athletic director, look at all I've done. Here's who I want, whether it's his son or somebody else.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah, but I don't think Danny White is going to do that. I think Danny White is going to want to hire his own person. Mm-hmm. And Coach Barnes, he cares about his people so much, not only just the kids, but the staff. And if he walks away and now his staff, all 10 people, are out of jobs, and what are they going to go do? I think that can win, because I don't think Danny's going to say, hey, Rick, who do you want me to hire? I think Danny's going to go hire his own guy whenever that time may be.
He's got a list of guys with that play special systems that you've never heard of that will be fan favorites. He'll do the usual Danny White hire, is my guess. Vince, do you think this statement hints at anything for next year?
Not not absolute. And I have been more hesitant to think that he would walk away. That's a noteworthy, one you mark what he said about Ziegler, but I don't think it means, hey, this is a prelude to what I'm going to do. I don't think it has that kind of
No, I don't
meaning.
think he's dropping a hint. I'm saying, do you read it as a hint?
Right.
That his mind, Ziegler has made me like this.
Yeah.
That, by definition, that means without Ziegler, well, he
I
said
don't
it.
like this.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you to read into it. I'm not saying, what is he telling us? I'm asking you, how do you read it? Do you think he's any closer to walking away, or no? He doesn't know what to do with himself if he would walk away. He's here for years.
I think he's closer to walking away, but I don't. I would be surprised if he did. I think he is. The more time has passed, I think the more the guys he connects with, the more he is emotional and more. I don't want to say over the top, but more direct and meaningful and heartwarming in describing what that person means to him. And I think he's just showing what Ziegler means to him. I'm more in Ryan's camp, but I've also thought about Bob too. It depends on how the season goes, because he, kind of your point, he wants to set everything up and make sure it's in the best possible position for the university because of what it has meant to him.
Mark, you and I are still on the island. I don't want him to leave, but at the same time, I'm just thinking at some point he's going to walk away. And when you're going to have to rebuild your roster again, I just wonder how much he's ready to do that.
Yeah, all things, because every year that he stays, I'm more shocked that he stays than retires. I mean, just the age, all the things that we discuss. Every year, I'm more shocked that he'll stay if he stays than I would be if he walked away.
There are only like 5 or 6 guys in the country who are over 70 and still doing it. And those guys, and Izzo's 69. Those are the two I always look to. Barnes and Izzo, so successful for so many years, and now you've taken basketball and turned it on its head and said, now do it. And they're still going. And so many guys younger than them have said, no, I'm out of here. Thank you. Sooner or later, I would think it would bother them. It took a while,
Could
but it
any
got
of it
Saban out.
hinge on what he thinks he's going to have next year?
Well, yeah, I was going to say maybe I'm
How
too
can you
much of
even
a
project that?
Maybe I'm too much of a cynic on this. I think there's an ego element to all this. Larinaga, Saban, Jay Wright, even all these guys who left, I think saw a threat to their success. Rick Barnes is still doing it at a very high level. Until he sees this cracking his foundation, I don't know that he's as likely to leave.
And he's adapted so well, too.
Yeah.
He still enjoys it.
Well, you're a top 10 team again. He just rebuilt the roster, lost one of the best scorers you've ever had, rebuilt the roster, and he's winning with defense again, which he loves. So, he's adapted well. And no one here is pushing him out the door.
Right.
But at the same time, this is going to be a story until it isn't.
Yeah.
So, all right. When we come back, especially when he makes a comment like that says, I wouldn't be doing it if not for Zakai. All right. When we come back, Mark's going to give us a scouting report on Tennessee's next opponents. Then we're going to dive into other UT sports. Come on back on the Sports Source.